We, the Bangla people, welcome you to our country. We are the lawful inhabitants of this peninsula for thousands of generations. We are part of this land on which we stand, part of the waters that flow in and around. We are part of the dreaming stories that are connected. The full awareness of oneness with the land and waters will ensure a future for the children of tomorrow. Ngaya Punaguru Bangala Mirinya Yura Melbu. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome everyone here to our meeting tonight, and particularly our gallery back there. In delivering the oath to Whyalla, we, the Whyalla Council members, commit to serving the community of which we are a part, and will work together diligently and collaboratively to create a prosperous future in which we all can share. Item 3, our obituary notices. For those that can or wish to, ask you to be standing. We note the passing of Julie Pitts, Jean Grant, Friedrich Koenigke, Troy Bundy, Les South, Sandra Seeley, Anthony Rennenberg, Valerie Hawthorne, Bill Neal, Barry Grinter, Susan Robinson, Linda Wheater, Alfred Kasser, and Sharon Todd. Until recently, we're certainly aware of Sharon having been a member of this councillor who only recently resigned. She has been an incredible role model for our city, for people that she's ever come across, whether it's through work, her community efforts, and her one aim being on council was to work for our community and do whatever she could to ensure the Whyalla progress forward. She will be sadly missed, and if there is anybody here tonight that feels they need a break or even seek the comfort of family at home, we don't expect you to remain all night. Our thoughts are with you. Our thoughts are with Sharon's family. Just ask you to remain standing for a moment's silence in respect of those that have passed. Thank you. Item 4, our attendance record. We have one apology, Councillor Simpson. We have no leave of absence. Item 5, council member and executive declarations. 5.1, conflict of interest. Does anybody have a conflict of interest they feel needs to be declared? No, thank you. 5.2, gifts and benefits. Anybody have a gift or a benefit they feel should be declared? No, thank you. Item 6, minutes of the previous meeting. 6.1, confirmation of the minutes of the previous ordinary council meeting held on Monday, 20th of April. We have a recommendation. Moved Councillor Knox. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Inglis. We have a recommendation moved and seconded. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 7, matters adjourned or laid on the table. We have none. Item 8, contestations. There are none. Item 9, petitions. There are none. Item 10, public question time. We do have a question from resident Mr. Roger Thompson, which I will read out in accordance with policy. The background to Mr. Thompson's question relates to the supplementary roll, referring to an email of the 13th of April advising that absentee ratepayers would be notified of their eligibility to be added to council's supplementary roll, with council's advice posted with the fourth quarter rates notice mail out. The answer to that question, the question actually, could you please confirm what date range this advice was mailed out to all absentee ratepayers? The answer, council initially planned to include a flyer with the fourth quarter rates notice informing all ratepayers of the process to enrol on the supplementary voters roll. However, after internal review, it was decided that this was likely to cause confusion, as the vast majority of those receiving this notification would be those who will be automatically enrolled to vote in the council election via the state electoral roll. Instead, internal analysis of council's rating data was undertaken to identify those properties that may have eligibility to be on council supplementary voter roll based on mailing address. From this, a total of 705 property owners were identified as being potentially eligible. A letter will be sent directly to these property owners informing them of the process, including a copy of the forms used to apply to enrol. The mail merge and printing were completed on Wednesday, 13th of May 2026, with the process of folding and placing in envelopes currently underway. The letter is dated Monday, 18th of May 2026, and it is expected that all letters will have been sent by Friday, 22nd of May 2026. A second supplementary question to that from Mr. Thompson. Would you please provide to me by email a copy of the notice sent out? The answer is that a copy of the correspondence will be forwarded to Mr. Thompson for reference as requested. Item 10.2, our draft 2026-27 annual business plan and budget. Item 10.2.1, this is the opportunity for our community members, our residents, to offer council a verbal submission to be taken into account when the final decisions are made of the budget. Now, I do emphasise, despite some public comments to the contrary, particularly on social media, the draft budget is not a foregone conclusion. Doesn't mean to say it cannot be changed. And every comment we receive, whether tonight, at previous consultation nights, or still to come in, will be listened to, will be read, will be considered. So I'll hand it over to the community. What I will ask, if any of you do have a submission, a verbal submission you wish to give, please come up to the desk here. Also, just give us your name and your submission. Oh, and address, yes. Name and address, please. And they must be kept limited to around 5 minutes maximum. No, that one that's empty. No, just give your name and address, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To you, Samara Westbrook.
Your submission, though.
Yeah, I'm just here to talk about the bus system in Whyalla and ask that council perhaps consider a consultant to review the bus system and maybe allocating some funds in the budget to do that, a review of the bus system. And I'll just quickly outline why, because I believe that the bus is great and it's great for people like me that have mobility and no disabilities, but there's a number of problems with the service itself and the infrastructure. And I know that it's a three-tier system at the state government, council and a private enterprise. I know it's complicated, but I do think it might need review because it hasn't actually changed in a long time, many decades. So yeah, thank you, but I just wanted to give an example to start. I take the bus currently, and the other day I went to Essington Lewis. So I walked there from past the wetlands, basically industrial area. And that's great for me. I can do that. I can walk, up to an hour, no worries. The issue is that there's people that can't. So I walked to Essington and I had to get something simple, and I thought I'll just get the bus back. It was quite hot, like I was dehydrated, I didn't have a hat. And then I went to the stop and I thought, oh, where's the bus coming? Looked at my phone, it's quite hard to get the information quickly. And if you can't read very well, yeah, it's not good. And then my phone went dead. There was no information on when it was coming, so I had to basically walk up to Vinnie's and ask them permission home to look at the buses coming. And it wasn't for 45 minutes, and I already waited 10 minutes. So I ended up having to just walk home because I have to make a choice. Now I can do that, as I said, but somebody with a mobility issue blind, many people that take the bus, it's not ideal. And yeah, so I just wanted to outline a few things that a review might include. So firstly, yeah, it kind of puts the pressure on or the burden on the passenger. The system assumes that people already know the timetable, they have access to the paper timetable, that they're not just opportunistically travelling, that they're planning it. It's not really the way that happens. And then, yeah, they have access to phone and data, which obviously some people in the community, they don't have money all the time to have data, and that they can send heat and stuff like that. So that kind of might need looking at things that would reduce that friction there. Yeah, and then another issue is frequency and timing complexity. So it appears simple to some people, but the people that have cognitive problems, it's not simple. There's not just a sign that says bus comes every 10 past the hour or whatever, and they change at school times, they change in early morning, and they actually change again for the last buses. So it can be difficult for some people to navigate that and make it hard for them to just jump on the bus, which I'm sure business would love because all passengers is all theirs. And then, we get to some of the actual structural issues with the routes. So some key points or places in Whyalla, the buses don't actually go close enough. So the hospital was one that some people have raised quite a lot, because you come out of the new hospital entrance and you have to kind of walk up that new car park, and then the bit where the bus stop is actually around a bit, and it's fenced off. So somebody that's coming out after anaesthesia or whatever, it's not great. It should be a service that's very close to the entrance, and also the back where the X-ray clinic is. And yeah, just other things like the rec centre. There's been studies that have shown if you have a bus that goes closer to a sports centre, it can increase people's use of that, which improves their fitness. So yeah, and then there's a lot of stops that are in old industrial areas that are no longer really used. So I thought a review could actually do some sort of head count to see who's taking the bus from where, and then if the service would become more efficient, yeah, then that might actually be good. And then there's problems with obviously going to the beach. We've had a trial run of a bus. Then people told me that we cannot actually have a bus running to the beach, and it's because of OHS turns, stuff like that. That's stopping a lot of people that can't walk from the Adirondack Gardens to Jetty. They just don't have the mobility. And everybody should have the right to enjoy the beautiful Jetty. So that's just one point. And then only runs in the day. So it doesn't help the nighttime industry. We've got night shift workers, hospitality workers, people that want to go to the rec centre at 6 or 7 at night when it's dark. I really feel like it somehow should be possible that the efficiency is increased so that that could be expanded, like the routes and the time that they run. It's a lot of the city that should have that. Yeah, so, and then we come to the stops themselves, which it's been raised on Facebook. Yeah, people are quite concerned that the stops have no seating, have no shade. Some of them are around the wrong way, so even if they have shade, their legs are burning. Now, again, I can handle that. My grandmother couldn't. Imagine if it's raining, you know. That could cause huge dehydration to an older person. So it's not great. And yes, Adelaide doesn't have a lot of covered stocks either, but that doesn't mean we can't improve our service. Invest in our region. So yeah, that's obviously an issue under the timetables. They need to be at the stop, like I said before. So yeah, people with shopping or travelling with kids makes it a bit easier. Another issue is we have a lot of people with low income in Whyalla. Unfortunately, we do have a average median income is lower than a lot of places in the region. A full fare is $3. A concession is $1.50. Now that's very reasonable, but when people have to take multiple journeys on multiple routes, say you're doing errands and you have to go to town, then you have to go to the hospital, then you have to go to one stop for something because things are spread out. That can add up to a lot. And then imagine if you've got 2 kids with you. That can add up to more than your phone bill, more than your internet bill for the month. That really is up spare income of somebody that's especially benefits that we get for running work. So yeah, that could be something that could be improved by having a capped fare, like an all-day fare, that could still make sure that, you know, obviously the company that funded is making money, but people have more value for money to get around, and then you've got happier older people that could go shopping and people that could go to the rec centre and stuff like that late at night. So that would be good. And then this doesn't actually all have to come from council. I mean, it could be that bus shelters and upgrades could be supported through business sponsorship. So imagine, you know, putting on a sign on the bus stop. More shelters could be built, but if the routes are more efficient, it could be a model that works. I don't know, but it's up. So it could be something that would into, hopefully. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the issues. So the solutions are quite practical. So to summarise, simplify routes into a clearer system, increase frequency, standardise the timing across the full day, install real-time signage at stops that are not at key hubs and perhaps at key hubs like a digital sign, improve shelter shade and seating if possible, and yeah, again, in an efficient way by cutting out those stops that perhaps don't get used. It might become affordable. Again, that's for a consultant to decide. Increase, you know, access at high use destinations, especially like so it basically isn't a singular issue. Transport links directly to broader city goals, in my opinion. So a simpler transport system will actually help urban consolidation. So if things are consolidated into tourist hubs, retail hubs, you really need that transport to be efficient for tourists, for us, for everybody. Yeah, we'll have stronger hubs. People will want to live here, you know, because if you're older and you're considering a seat change, transport's really important. So it could be a key factor in, you know, people wanting to come and live and pay rates and fill up the Whyalla population. So yeah, so in closing, it's not about anything expensive, it's just about making it simple, more accessible and pretty much more aligned with how people live today. And helping, most importantly, the most vulnerable people in our community that do rely on that transport to get around, because while it can be unlivable if you don't have a disability, like epilepsy or something like that. So a lot of the time people that have always driven don't understand when it's hot or raining and you can't read a timetable and stuff. Yeah, it's not great. I know there's some objections like the timetables will get vandalised, but again, there needs to be evidence to support that. Because, you know, we can't keep saying that we're not going to do these things because of vandalism. So that's me.
Right, thank you very much, Ms. Westbrook. She has been taking plenty of notes and we are recording this, so we've got everything on file.
Right.
Thank you. Any other members of our gallery? No. Right. Well, thank you for still being here. Moving on to item 11, council member activities. They are scrolling through on the screen now. As usual, I'll give you a quick opportunity if anybody wants to expand upon anything in particular. No, but more busy activity from our elected members, so thank you. Item 12, presentations, we have none. Item 13, committee reports. 13.1, the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting of the 20th of February. We'll take them as read. We have a recommendation. Somebody care to move that recommendation? Move Councillor Knox, seconded Councillor Campbell. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 14, reports from council officers. 14.1, the Office of the Chief Executive. Ordinary reports. 14.1.1, Chief Executive Officer's Action Report for May 26. Before I call for a motion, if anybody has any questions or comments, I'll direct them to the CEO first. Any questions? Yes, Councillor.
Just in regards to the barrier operating gates, the committee that's been set up, do we have any ETA or timeframes of what the next phase is for that item?
Yeah, not formally. In that, they're going through the process of getting that team together and then formalise what that gate is like. So they have input from the family. The family wish to be involved as well, so we need some pressure.
Any other questions to the CEO? Otherwise, we have a report, we have a recommendation, but we note the CEO's action report for May 2026. Would somebody care to move that recommendation? Move Councillor Border, second Deputy Mayor Pond. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.1.2, support for EPLGA application to extend audit committee exemption. Again, you have a report which we'll take as read. Again, I'll refer any questions first up to the CEO if anybody has any questions. If not, we have a recommendation that we support the application from EPLGA to the Minister for Local Government for an extension of its current exemption from the requirement to establish an audit committee. Somebody care to move? Councillor Knox, seconded Councillor Inglis. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.1.3, updated community engagement policy for consultation. Take the report as read. Any questions to the CEO first, case? In that case, we have a recommendation that we endorse the draft updated version of the community engagement policy to go out for community consultation. Does somebody care to move? Move Councillor Border, seconded Councillor Campbell. Put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.1.4, the ESCOSA Local Government Advice Scheme second cycle framework and approach. I'll take the matter as read. Any questions to the CEO? In that case, we have a recommendation. We endorse the draft response to ESCOSA in relation to its second cycle. I have a mover, please. Move Councillor Border, seconded Councillor Coblica. I put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.2, corporate services ordinary reports. 14.2.1, the monthly budget report for April 2026. Have the report. We'll take that as read. I will refer any questions in the first instance to the CEO. Yes, Deputy Mayor Pond.
And there's a section that refers to executive cars being purchased a little bit early. Could you give us a bit of background information on that?
Yes, so through, as councillors are aware, we went through a process of recruiting complete new executive team. As part of those recruitment and negotiation process, each of bar one, the executive have got a motor vehicle provided as part of their remuneration package. So the number of the cars needed to be swapped out in order to provide vehicles in line with those negotiated packages. So essentially it was a timing issue. The cars were actually due to be replaced next year, so we just brought that forward in order to tidy that up.
Thank you, Chair. Any further questions to the CEO? In that case, we have a recommendation that we note the monthly budget report for April. Would somebody care to move that recommendation? Move Councillor Campbell. Do I have a second? Councillor Border. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.2.2, the Code of Practice for Meeting Procedures. To have the recommendation that we note and adopt the amendments to section 27 and other procedures made to the Code of Practice for Meeting Procedures that apply to council and council committees as outlined within the report. Do I have any questions to direct to the CEO? In that case, do I have somebody to move the recommendation? Move Deputy Mayor Pond. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Border. Thank you. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.2.3. Yes, we've got several policies tonight. An order making policy. Take the report as read. I'll refer any questions. If not, we have the recommendation that council adopts the order making policy for uploading to council's website. Do I have a mover, please? Move Councillor Copperfield, seconded Councillor Campbell. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.2.4, the quarterly report, procurement, 1st of January to 31st of March. Take the report as read and I'll direct any questions in the first instance to the CEO. There are no questions. We have a recommendation that council notes the quarterly report. Would somebody care to move the recommendation? Move Councillor Inglis. So I have a second to Councillor Campbell. Thank you. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.2.5, the draft public question time procedure. Again, take the report as read. And if anyone has any questions, I refer to the CEO. In that case, would somebody care to move the recommendation that council, subject to any feedback, adopts the updated public question time procedure to be uploaded to council's website? View of the fact there's no further feedback, does somebody wish to move that recommendation? Move Councillor Border, seconded Councillor Campbell. Put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.2.6. The budget review 2025-26 quarter 3. I'll take the report as read, and again, in the first instance, refer to any questions to the CEO. I don't know. In that case, if there's no questions or comments, will somebody care to move the recommendation? Move Councillor Campbell, seconded Councillor Boyle. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 14.2.7, fees and charges registered for 26-27. Along the same lines, we'll take the report as read. Any questions I'll take on that? Yes, Deputy Mayor Pond.
There's a lot of two-year range in this year's section of the report. Can we pass it with the ones that have figures and the two-year range? Is it possible to come back to, because I feel a bit uneasy passing something when we don't have a dollar figure there?
Fine. Refer to the manager of finance and information knowledge.
Yep, through the chair. So all those fees should basically align to statutory charges. There's only like literally one or two where we've aligned our charge to something else. So we don't have any say basically in the statutory charges. And that's something we've actually updated in the fees register this year. We added who is the fee setter in one of the columns because it wasn't really clear in there. And that was feedback when Bentley did their review last year of over our overall fees and charges. So basically those to be announced are like ones that will come from the state government. We'll announce them in a legislative instrument, like a regulation, and then we'll fill them in. We don't have any say in them. There's only one or two. So there's the recycled water one. We align, no, the recycled water one. The eight shacks out along the northern coastline that we supply water to. We've aligned their quarterly fee to the SA Water quarterly fee. So even though we set it, it's basically set the same every year using that. And I think that's actually the only one. So all the other ones are statutory ones. That's the only one that we set linking to a statutory fee. So there's not really any decision for council to make in those ones. But yeah, it's just the timing thing. They tend to start doing that in the next couple of weeks. By sort of late May to mid-June, all those fees will be gazetted by the state government.
Happy with that, Deputy Mayor?
Yep.
Any further questions? In that case, we have a recommendation. Somebody care to move that? Move Councillor Inglis, second Deputy Mayor Pond. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.3 City Growth Ordinary Reports. 14.3.1 Mobile Vendor Policy May 2026 Review. Take the report as read again. Any questions or comments? In that case, we have a recommendation that we endorse the updated mobile vendor policy as detailed within Annexure A. Would somebody care to move it? Move to Councillor Knox. Do I have a seconded Councillor Border? Thank you. I put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. (14.3.2) the cafe pod relocation. You have a report with a recommendation. Before I call for a mover, any questions? In the first instance, I will refer to the CEO. Any questions?
Is it intended not to provide any compensation to the current facilities?
To when you member in the first instance, and then possibly member of finance.
And there's grants and Lucas have met with the cafe component to advise them early on that the core area expanding for the new build that need to relocate early. They have sought some compensation for the downtime they're going to lose in the transition to relocation. So those conversations are still.
Yeah, and with that conversation, through the chair, with that conversation, it's been more around. We'll probably provide that via like lowering the lease fee in the first year rather than giving cash. So it'll be assisting them to set themselves up in that slightly new location, but also compensate for the closure time. So that's how we'll manage that for the year one lease fee.
Any further questions, Council? Any other questions? In that case, we have a recommendation, two-part recommendation. Would somebody care to move the recommendation? Councillor English or Just? Sorry, I've already called, so I've got to stick with that. Otherwise, I'll get destroyed. Seconded, Councillor Coplica. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 14.4 City Infrastructure Ordinary Reports. 14.4.1 Operational resource capacity and open space service levels review. Have a detailed report there with the appropriate recommendation. In the first instance, I'll refer any questions to the CEO. Yes, Councillor Board.
Just a comment on the comprehensiveness of it and how this seemed very well put together. And it's in the hunt to try and optimise. I think it's perfectly fine. So just the moment.
Thank you, Councillor. Are you moving it that way? Thank you. Move, Councillor Border. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Knox, seconded. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 15, information decision reports. 15.1, council members. 15.1.1, the mayor's list of engagement. I will refer any questions to the mayor. And I'll try to answer them. In that case, if there are no questions, does somebody care to move the recommendation? Move, Councillor Campbell. Do I have a second, Councillor Knox? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 15.2, corporate services, city growth, city infrastructure. 15.2.1, the monthly information report. Another fairly lengthy report with quite a range of information, plus a recommendation. Initially, any questions or comments which need to be referred to other officers? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Just a question. I think a resident reached out to me recently about the dirt roads at 8 Mile and Whyalla. How often do you have those roads?
I'll refer to the GM and refer to the member of operations.
Through the chair, I think I'll Mr. Sharp about that.
Yeah, I don't have any apologies. But we do have a schedule, and I can get that to you. Thank you tomorrow.
We will take that on notice.
We'll take it on.
Thank you. Any further questions? In that case, will somebody care to move the 4-part recommendation? Move. Yes, second. Oh, you're moving? Sorry, move Deputy Mayor Pond, seconded. Councillor Inglis. Just stumble all night. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 16, notices of motion. We have none. Item 17, questions on notice. 17.1 from Councillor Knox, various matters.
A recommendation for noting.
Yes, I'll provide them with mention that the responses to members.
Yes, so it's looking forward.
Sorry, shouldn't they all be on the screen?
They're in the agenda.
They're in the agenda through the mayor. So the public have been notified of the questions and the answers via the public agenda that published in retrospective. Just had a recommendation for council tonight for questions and answers. So we can
Does that?
on the floor set someone to move a motion to that effect.
Yeah. You wish to move that way, Councillor?
Am I moving?
Just that the questions and answers be noted.
I thought questions on notice were included without a resolution. Unless was the change. Questions without notice require a resolution.
Right. We'll certainly report it. You have cited the responses.
I've got one comment about today.
Yes,
I think that we are not doing enough to control disabled car parking spaces. As a person who regularly uses them, family member, and only issued one infringement notice in a decent period of time isn't good enough, and I assume that we're still doing the Westland Shopping Centre as per the agreement we had with them some years ago.
Thank you for your comment, councillor. We noted. Item 18, questions without notice. Have any questions without notice?
I've got one.
Yes, councillor.
When are we intending to provide a report in regard to the charging of fees at the marina?
Through the mayor, my initial response is no time soon, given that the state government currently has arrangements in place where councils are not able to charge for access to boat ramps or marinas. So at this point in time, there's no need for council to consider introducing a fee on the basis that we're not able to currently give effect to it. Beyond that, it's something that we have discussed internally, but we haven't confirmed a timeframe in terms of when we bring that to council for consideration.
Thank you, councillor. Any further questions without notice? None, thank you. Item 19, motions without notice. Have any motions without notice? Good, thank you. Item 20 is the consideration of confidential items. Look at that, come to the end of our agenda. Which means we are going to have to go into confidence. Somebody care to move, we go into confidence? And move councillor Cobblepur, seconded councillor Inglis. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried.